Thing that makes your roster decisions easier.
Oh, so what do you want to get up for DeAndre Swift, dude? Zeke's on the block.
You can't have DeAndre Swift unless you're going to give up Kamara.
Zeke's on the block, dude.
I don't want Zeke. I want Kamara.
Self-loathing Cowboys fan.
Exactly.
Welcome to the Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast. It's Brad, Eric, and Josh. We're here after 1 week off. We're ready to give you all some fantasy advice. Yeah, I know the official scoring season is over, but now it's time to get in the off season. This is where you can make your money next year. This is where you can get the advantage on everybody else. Is right now. Josh knows what I'm talking about. So many times do you think, okay, season's over, let me just quit watching. No. So much is going to change. Stuff happened in week 17 that does matter.
Oh, yeah.
That will matter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Eagles, the Eagles set their players. Who cares? The Giants had 10 chances to make the playoffs. And they lost all 10 of them.
I don't care about that.
10 losses. If it was flip-flopped and it was the Dolphins complaining, I would give them a little bit of credit. They have 10 wins or 9 wins or whatever it is. They have a winning record. Like Dolphins, they have something to complain about.
They're 10-6, Bears 8-8.
Yeah. And
football team,
the Washington football team,
7-9, and it's
I love
awful.
Yeah, MJ wants to bring up, get in there. If you guys haven't seen that Twitter, if you haven't seen Facebook feeds we've been sending out for this FSA playoff challenge, FSA playoff challenge on NFL.com, get in there. The code is FSA 2020. Right?
Yes.
Get in there for that free membership next year. Free chance to play. If you guys are out here listening to this and you're like, oh, they talk about the FSA, I don't know if I want to forego the money. Play this playoff challenge. Get to know Brian. See what you think. Maybe you win a free spot next year.
Maybe.
A W is a W.
All of you were in that.
I want to read that. Yep.
Don't like that.
Yep. Not reading that. Never mind. Okay, look at what I click on before I click on it. But okay, let's keep this thing PG-13 here. And
Brad,
MJ,
what are you doing?
Going to have a blast here. We're going to have a blast.
Boom! We are. Let's go. How you boys doing? How was your holidays? We didn't really we took a week off.
Great.
We did. We took a week off to recharge because if you play a championship in week 17, you should get out of that league. Or if you play the week 17 and 16 aggregate, you should get out of that league.
Why would you play a championship week that's 2 weeks long when the rest of your season's been 1 week? That's what I don't understand.
I don't get that either. So,
yeah, I hate it unless I win a championship that way.
Yeah.
Nice. Still don't like it.
Yep.
No, I don't either. I agree. But next year, I was thinking, should we change the schedule? Honestly, I think we're still going to have even more meaningless games in week 17 and 18 next year. So I think for the first year of this thing, especially if you're in a dynasty league, you should probably keep your schedules the way that they are currently and let week 17 and 18 kind of just play out, because there's not going to be too many games that are going to be really that great week 17 and 18. I don't know how many playoff spots are really going to be up for grabs. So I wouldn't be too concerned with it.
Yeah. We're going to take a pause real quick. We're going to pause real quick here. Maybe if I can.
I don't think it works like that. We're live.
Yeah.
No, I was going to turn it off real quick. Eric sees what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll figure that out post, I guess.
But I can't see anything. So it sounds
if you're out there listening on Periscope, I don't know what's going on. Ignore the chat. But yeah, so we're going to get into this a little bit. We're going to break down what happened, throughout the season with some of these, different positions.
Yep.
Well, MJ also wants to say she's Delta champion. Congratulations.
Congratulations, MJ.
Congratulations. That's what I'm talking about. First year in Dynasty and you win it all. Well, it was the first year for Dynasty, period. Great job.
Very nice.
Hello, Jenna.
Hey, Jenna. Thanks for stopping
doing
in.
Well? Yeet. Yeet. I'm fired up, guys. I'm happy. I mean, last week I needed the week off, but I'm happy to see you guys. I'm stoked. And now we got some playoff football. We got 2 full days from sun up to sundown, Saturday and Sunday of playoff football. I'm
Mhm.
stoked. Now,
Yeah.
and now it's great because now you can just sit back and watch and enjoy as a fan. You know, you don't have to sit there and stress about playoff implications and sitting and starting people. Now you just kind of enjoy it. I love it.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about my team ruining their draft position anymore. It's great.
Yep, that's true. That is true. Luckily, the Eagles, Eagles are far worse. I've listened to Dan Patrick ran on about this all week, and I'm like, dude, just calm down. It's not that big of a deal.
About the Eagles game?
thing, I don't even, like I said, don't care about. Like,
It's whatever.
He did what he said he was going to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't care. But no, there has been some interesting developments. This is the time for me when I really like to pay attention for early redraft next year and when I'm really interested in dynasty. So you're going to see you can't be swayed by the college football playoffs and the bowl games that were happening. You have to look at the entire season of work. There's going to be some hot draft picks coming up. As you know, Eric, there's going to be Travis Etienne, probably Najee Harris will be the number 2 pick, quite possibly. I don't know. We'll see what happens depending on the landing spot.
We'll see. I've seen a couple. Well, I've seen a couple mock drafts having that he's not even in the top 3, but we'll see where he goes.
We'll see. It's all about landing spots.
Yeah, for sure.
Landing spots matters. Josh, you know more about the players coming up, but wide receivers. So we had, which Smith won the Heisman?
Devonta Smith, yes. And he's
Devonta
not even
Devonta Smith won the Heisman.
Not even the best receiver on his team. Yes.
I was going to ask you that. So in drafts next year, he won the Heisman.
Yep.
Are we taking the other Alabama receiver over him? If he shows up in the combine or whatever the situation with his ankle is.
Jalen Waddle is the better receiver. But we talk about, we talk about landing spots. Now, see, and this is the same things, right? So last year, Jerry Jeudy and you had Henry Ruggs. Now, Henry Ruggs landed in a better spot because he had a better quarterback. I'm saying Derek Carr is better than Drew Lock. Say whatever you want. He does. Jerry Judy's the better route runner. But Henry Ruggs is a straight down the line receiver. So even though those guys were both number 1 picks, one is better than the other. And I think that you have to sit there and you have to pay attention to all that stuff. Same thing with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's a far better receiver. Jalen Waddle is the better receiver. So even though he lands, but if he lands somewhere like Baltimore, I'm not interested. Just because they don't throw the ball enough. They don't.
But Josh, you love Devin Duvernay.
I do love Devin Duvernay, but they don't throw the ball enough. I mean, we saw that again this year with Lamar Jackson having another 1,000-yard season. So,
Is Ja'Marr Chase the best wide receiver though? The LSU wide receiver.
Yes.
Because there was talk about him being better than Justin Jefferson last year.
Ja'Marr Chase is the best receiver. He sat this year due to COVID, and he's still probably going to be a first-round pick. He's an incredible receiver. I mean, you're talking about that offense that happened at LSU last year was prolific. I mean, just incredible.
They did set records.
And you know what the problem? Like when you look at, Devonta Smith win the Heisman, that might have been the worst thing for him. Let's look at your past Heisman candidates and how they've turned out in the NFL.
Well, that's true.
Derrick Henry, he's fine. Derrick Henry's doing great.
Yeah.
Mr. 2K.
Mark Ingram did all right. Mark Ingram did okay.
Lamar Jackson's okay, but he kind of fell off this year compared to where he was the year prior.
Baker, right?
Fell off after his rookie year.
He's got better this year. Come on.
He was better this year, but I mean, fantasy-wise, is he at number 1?
Well, no, but I mean, a lot of the Heisman Trophy, it doesn't have anything it's no correlation to NFL.
Exactly. And I don't want people to get like, oh, he's the Heisman winner. I got to take him first overall.
I'm loving that. Take him. Please.
Take him. Please. Yep.
Okay, we're here to give fantasy advice, so I don't want to give bad advice. Or
let Jalen Waddle.
I mean, we would love to see him go first in our draft in our drafts, especially because our dynasty league is swapping over to Superflex in next year, right? So
I hope so. I sure hope so.
Well, it looks that way right now based on the vote. We'll see what
it ain't happening.
No,
our league doesn't like change for those of you out there listening and watching.
It's not that I don't want it to happen. It's just not going to happen.
So, Josh, you bring up a good point. Now is the time to be watching for dynasty stuff and for early stuff for redraft next year, because now we get to see the coaching carousel and the offensive coordinator carousel and the defensive coordinator carousel go round and round and see who gets hired where and what those potential offenses could look like for fantasy next year.
And this is a perfect time too for you to go and buy low on some guys that you were really high on last year. Like Sims from the Jets, he didn't have an outstanding year. Henry Ruggs, another guy that you like, oh, maybe. And if you really felt like maybe there was something, the guy that went to Tampa, the running back, maybe if you felt like there was something there for him, you could go out and get these guys. They have a lower price right now. Whereas, of course, guys like Justin Jefferson, their price is going to be through the roof right now because of what they did, the records that he set and all this amazing stuff that he did as a rookie. But look out for those guys right now in the offseason especially that didn't have great seasons, but you were really high on before your dynasty drafts. I love it. And if you believe in Tua didn't show great stuff, but I think it would be a good time to go get him if that's what you want. You buy low on these guys that you believe in. I think it's smart.
I mean, yeah, you can. There is some news, though. Some guys I want to talk about. Deshaun Watson, he is not happy right now.
My boy.
He sure is.
He is very upset. The owner is going to try to talk to him. Is set a meeting contact him to try to talk to figure out what's going on. I don't know how that's going to go. He's not happy with the GM that they hired from the Patriots. Nope. So we'll see what happens. Everyone's like, oh, he's going to the Patriots. It's like, if he's not happy with a GM from the Patriots, do you think he wants to go to the Patriots?
Yeah, but
it wasn't so much that he wasn't happy. I don't think. Well, it wasn't one of the ones that he consulted on them about or wanted for the job. So I think he's more upset that they said he was going to be involved in the process and then they didn't do anything with that. So you need to keep your star happy.
Yeah, Markel Fultz, he was involved in the process too, and now he's towards ATL and he's in Orlando.
It's just being lied to. That's really what it is. It's like you don't have to involve your star quarterback in the process, but if you tell them you are and then you don't,
well, here's the difference.
Kind of what upsets me.
Here's the difference, and here's the way I think of it. If he hadn't signed that big long extension, he would have been heavily involved with it. As soon as he signed that extension and they have him under contract, the bargaining chip for him is kind of out the window. Like, he can be mad, but he isn't going to sit out. He isn't going to leave the money on the table. He's already mistimed ACL injury. He knows what happens with injuries and how much time you can lose and how it can affect your career. He did lead the league in passing this year, passing yards. People don't forget that. I mean, they kind of sleep on it. I don't think he moves from Houston. I don't think Houston can move him. There's just, what do they get him? A 26-year-old franchise quarterback? Like, let's be honest. They don't move too often. You
would have to make a Herschel Walker type deal.
Even then, like, is that enough?
That's what
Herschel
I'm saying.
Walker was a running back. Like, that's
what I'm saying, though. But it was a Godfather offer.
Yeah.
You'd need something big like that. You'd have to give up. I mean, you'd have to literally mortgage your
they can give up
future.
the 1-1. I was like, man, this isn't fantasy football. This is real football.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, oh, Trevor Lawrence, who probably could be, or Deshaun Watson. In the same division. In the same division. Like,
yeah, but you're also not going to give up the 1-1 because the most valuable contract in football is a good quarterback on a rookie deal. So
yeah, but that's the thing too, is his contract.
Right, it's huge.
It's not as bad as what people make it out to be. And think about it, Jacksonville actually has a cap space. And the thing is that you have the guy who is versus the guy who could be. We know what Deshaun Watson is. We don't know what Trevor Lawrence is going to be in the NFL. And with him playing on the teams he hasn't actually played in a lot of diversity when he's been down. Deshaun Watson's been down, and he still led the league in passing on a 4-12 team. We know what he is. So, Jacksonville might want to make that move all day, but Houston's not gonna come off.
It's just one of those ones. Like, it's one of those ones I've heard. I've also heard like, oh, Miami could try to give up the picks because Miami has their pick, and there's some other teams that. But I just don't see I don't see other teams going to do that because you're putting too much. You're riding too much on the line for that, and then I also don't see Houston doing it. Like, I mean, and so if let's say Houston, let's say they keep Deshaun Watson. How do we feel about Brandon Cooks next year? Will Fuller's probably gone. Like, he's a free agent.
You think so?
They don't have the money.
They don't have the money to re-sign him. He's a free agent, unrestricted. I don't know what he's gonna draw after his PED suspension. money
Yeah,
wise.
that's the real question. Is like,
But there's teams out there that are going to give him more than what Houston's going to give him.
Sure, but how many games is he going to be suspended? Is the question, because that hasn't come
He has
down
one
yet.
game next year. No, it is. He has
That's
one
it?
game.
Oh,
Yeah, that's all he's got left on his suspension is one more game.
Yeah.
So Will Fuller, if he goes somewhere, what do you guys think about Will Fuller? Are you trying to buy Will Fuller, sell Will Fuller, waiting for the landing spot, see what happens? Do you even care?
If you can sell him, sell him. But I think the time to sell him is already.
Do you want to
passed.
sell him though? Like, I mean, I don't think you can get anything for him right now.
No,
You
probably
really-
not.
You're
Wait
in
and
a-
see
you're
on
in
the
a
landing
wait and see.
spot. And
He
then if
was
lands
great.
somewhere good, sell on the hype. Now,
But
granted,
he was
he might-
great, but the PED
he was
thing
on
is
PEDs, yes. Is he great without him, or is he just? Well, I mean, if he goes someplace with a number one, like a true number one, and he can
Maybe.
be that guy, like when he had.
who's the quarterback.
Well, that's the thing. You don't know, so we'll see. We'll see where. I mean,
And
he
his
could
biggest
get-
games were without Hopkins.
We're talking about maybe you should go out and try and buy Deshaun Watson in Superflex. You're like, well, the team was 4-12. They weren't that great.
Okay, you own him in Superflex. Are you moving him?
Oh hell no,
Exactly.
No,
you only
I'm
won one
not.
QB league.
I'm not. But I'm saying that you might be able to convince someone like, hey, time to get rid of him. But he had the best season statistically of his entire career.
Yeah.
But the team finished 4-12, so you can sit there and say he did this without DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, the guy is incredible, but I'm saying you never know what someone's mindset is whenever it comes to
We
players.
don't know the
Oh,
coaching
man.
situation in Houston if he even stays there. We don't know who's going to end up there. Adam
Yeah,
Gase could end up there.
Because you can sit there and sell. You can sit there and say like, look, hey, Deshaun Watson's not happy. You don't know what team he's going to be on. It depends on how comfortable you are with your league mates and how you can try and spin this situation.
Okay.
Brad, you've held people down and traded them real good.
What? I gave you Derrick Henry 1 year. Okay, don't get mad.
I said
Speaking of Adam
traded them
Gase,
real good.
if you
No.
haven't started buying up Jets player stock, do it now. Go get yourself LaMichael P. Ryan. Go get yourself
So we don't know what they're going to do, man. They have draft picks, and I don't know what's going to
Adam
happen
Gates
there.
is gone. It'll be fine. Don't worry. They'll be better than what they were this year. That's all you need to know. Go get who are the receivers there? Mims and Crowder. Go get those. Go get both of those guys. Get Chris Herndon. Chris Herndon's probably going to be like a top 5 tight end next year. You watch, because Gase is gone. Somebody will actually come in and maybe know what the hell to do.
We're kind of rambling here. So the coaching moves we need to know about. We already know about Falcons. We already know about Houston. We already know about what were the other in-season ones?
Detroit.
Detroit.
We got Detroit, Atlanta, Houston. We have the Jets. We have Jacksonville, and then there's
And
one
Anthony
more.
Lynn.
Chargers.
Anthony Lynn, right?
Chargers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. Yeah, so those are the openings right now. I mean, I think until Eric Bieniemy signs somewhere, I don't think anybody's going to sign a coach. There's going to be a lot of interviews, but until the Chiefs are eliminated for the playoffs and he can sign somewhere, I don't see a lot of these teams because he's interviewed with every one of these teams.
Not
I think
Houston.
He didn't interview with Houston? Thought he had
No,
a phone interview.
that was part of what pissed off Deshaun Watson so bad. Is they didn't even interview him. That was his guy, and they're like, nah, we're good.
Yeah.
And there's been ties to Urban Meyer to Jacksonville.
That's a terrible move. Terrible. I don't even get me started on that. I don't
It's better than a reach. It's better than that Jason Garrett who went and interviewed with the Chargers.
Oh God.
No, it's a
Justin Herbert right out the gate. Good God.
Yeah.
Keep him away from him.
So
it's a terrible move because Urban Meyer has never coached in the NFL. 1, 2. This is a situation in which he can't actually sit there and pay all of his recruits like he's done in years past. And
He can.
3, he's got
can.
medical
He can
issues out the. He's got medical issues out the wazoo. You're getting him on a 3-year max deal anyway before he starts having migraines and health issues to where he has to walk away. This is not the whole thing about Urban Meyer. I'm so sick of hearing it. He just likes to be courted. That's all it is. He just wants to be told he's pretty. Get out of here with that crap.
Are you talking about paying players and you root for Auburn? You root for
Yeah.
an SEC team and you're talking about paying players?
We bought Cam Newton, baby. National title, 2010. Boom, boom.
okay, hey, so
Quick,
the
quick,
only reason I don't like Urban Meyer is because of straight up what he did with every quarterback he's ever coached. and he's admitted to this because they asked him about like Tebow when Tebow was coming out, like, are you going to like put some like plays in for him to take some snaps under center to help his pro stock or help him play? And he's like, no, I'm here to win games. I'm not here to prepare these guys to be in the pros. He literally told the reporters that. So his offense isn't a pro style offense. I mean, it's not.
It's a winning.
It won't be as good. Yeah, it will in college. It's a winning offense. I don't know. What's gonna be
he's all he's done his entire life is win. So I'm okay with that. It's true.
Yep, it is. All right. So those are the coaching moves. If you want to hear way in depth, go listen to the Average Bros. They went way in depth on all the coaching moves with Brian. Go check them out, please. Speaking of that, we're 20 minutes in. Let's talk about the FSA. Let's talk about the Average Bros. We went on way tangents there, way more than I wanted to early.
Well, the Average Bros, they have their podcast every Tuesday night. Broadcast every Tuesday night. They're average. I mean, let's be honest. And to them, average equals fantastic. So I love what the Average Bros do every single Tuesday night. Wednesday night, you have Brian coming on, and he's having the Fanatically Real broadcast. He's taking a little bit of a break right now with the offseason going on. We're about done wrapping that up. I mean, this was a successful season for FSA. Despite the coronavirus coming in, we did well, boys. You know, FSA did really, really well. We're actually working on expansion. We're bringing more people in. We're trying to get better. Check it out at fsa-fr.com. You're going to be able to sit there and talk to the owner. How many times can you say that you can talk to the owner of a company? You can talk to this guy, Brian. He's an incredible owner. He's an incredible human being. And I think that's what really matters is that you can sit there and you know that whenever you decide to play for the Fanatically Real Football League, which is Fantasy Sports Alliance, whenever you play for them, you're going to have a guy who's going to take the time to talk to you. He's going to want to know what kind of logo you want for your team, the makeup of your team. You're going to be able to sit there and customize all that. And you're going to be able to talk to the owner about it. You can't get that anywhere else. I'm sorry. You just can't. Check it out at fsa-fr.com. Talk to Brian. See what it's about. You owe it to yourself if you love football. You owe it. And check out the right now we got the playoff challenge going on. You might win it all. You pays nothing to get in, and you can play free next year. Check it out, fsa-fr.com. Boom.
Boom. There it is. 20 minutes in, we got a plug.
Yee.
We went off the rails way too early. All right, so let's get into these. Let's try to recap these players real quick. Let's talk about some of the top players throughout the season.
Okay.
And are you really surprised these dudes are up here? We're using Fantasy Pros rankings right now, PPR standings. Let's talk about the top quarterbacks.
Okay.
But I mean, Josh Allen, number one. Is that right? Josh Allen, number one?
Yep.
Man, those big games at the end really helped. It's because Patrick Mahomes only played 15 games. If you look at the average, Patrick Mahomes probably would have jumped him had he played the last game of the season.
Yeah. If you look at points per game, they had the same. So
yeah. A big surprise here, I think what do you guys think about the biggest surprise of the top 12?
Tannehill.
Tannehill
Herbert out of nowhere.
Tannehill and Herbert to me were the biggest ones. But
what about Kirk Cousins at 11? Like,
no.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Kirk's done it before. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
He's done it before?
Yeah. He's been a top 12 quarterback before.
I figured he'd be top 20 at best. I figured he'd be in the 18-19 range where Goff and Bridgewater finished. I didn't think he would get anywhere. I didn't think he would sniff the top 12 at all.
Yeah.
But Justin Jefferson made a big difference for him this year. So
I think that Tannehill he's been great since he's taken over that starting job in Tennessee. He's great on that play action with Derrick Henry. I mean, the biggest thing that is there between him and Russell Wilson is a 20-point difference in points. Like, there's kind of a big drop when you look from 6 to 7.
Yeah, because you're looking at 370 plus all the way up, like 6-1. So
and then when you drop from Lamar Jackson to Kirk Cousins, you're looking at another almost 30-point jump.
I'm kind of surprised. I'm kind of surprised that Tom Brady had the second best second best season of his career statistically, and he ended up as the number 8 fantasy quarterback at age 44. I was kind of surprised by that.
And Eric will be back, but this is the most touchdown passes that Tom Brady's thrown in his last 5 games of the season.
Last 5 years?
No, like the last 5 games of the season, it's the most touchdown passes he's thrown. Like, if you just look at that one.
He played well in Tampa. I mean, despite what he did with no offseason, no practices, and things like that, Tom Brady, and he says he's going to come back for another year. We fully expect him to come back another year, not like Drew Brees, who we expect to bow out. I mean, Tom Brady, for all intents and purposes, is going to have another good season next year. So, but I guess the surprising thing really is Justin Herbert sitting at 9, and the arrow is pointing straight up because the next best rookie quarterback is Joe Burrow at 25.
And Joe Burrow only played 10 games. I mean, Joe Burrow, had he played and stayed on the projection he would have been up there with these guys. Like, he would have been in the top 12 consideration. Because his points per game are almost the same as Matt Ryan. They're right between Matt Ryan and Derek Carr. They're right there at 12.
Yep.
So, Joe Burrow, I don't know what's going to happen with him next season. I don't know if he'll be ready to start the season off. I don't know how Cincinnati's going to do with that. I don't know if they're going to David Carr him and just let him just get pummeled back there.
I hope not.
I like how you said David Carr. You remembered. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Derek got. Oh yeah, David. Yeah, Derek.
Yeah,
Derek got beat up his first season though too, didn't he? I remember right.
A little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, so we'll run them down real quick. I'll run down these guys. The top 12 were Josh Allen 1, Kyler Murray 2. They got legs. Okay. Aaron Rodgers. Yep, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, that big start of the season. Fell off towards the end there, but still finished as a top 6 quarterback. Ryan Tannehill, Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan. And then if you want to look at some honorable mentions down there, like after that, it's just the streamer of the streamers. Like even those last two, Kirk Cousins and Matt Ryan, are streamers in my mind.
Yeah.
Do you guys surprised that? I was going to say, never mind. Do you think Jimmy Garoppolo is still a starter for the 49ers next year?
So there's going to be a lot of moves in the offseason. I expect Stafford to move. I expect Matt Ryan to move. And Garoppolo could be one of those guys to move as well.
Well, Matt Ryan and Kyle Shanahan, they got history.
They do. They make out. They did pretty well. They went to a Super Bowl together. They didn't win one, but they went to one. And Matt Ryan can still get it done. So I don't know. I don't really know. The 49ers did just fine without Matt Ryan, without a stud quarterback. They went to a Super Bowl. If they had been healthy this year, you can see how great of a coach Kyle Shanahan is with what basically the skeleton crew that he had for a team this year. I think it's going to be interesting. We need to pay attention this offseason. But for me, I'm looking at this list and I'm seeing who are buys and who are sells. I'm actually okay with, a lot of people would say with his age, you should probably sell Aaron Rodgers. I think you should buy him. I think Aaron Rodgers still probably got a good 2 or 3 years left where you can go ahead and maybe if you want to go all in and try and win a fantasy championship, even a Tom Brady this season wouldn't be too bad. So I think there's some interesting stuff that's happening here. And if you want to try and swindle something in before the offseason, maybe even Matt Ryan. But Matt Ryan isn't a guy that I'm really too high on. But he could definitely end up in San Francisco.
Okay. Yep. Like that. Well, let's look at the running back position here. I mean, it's no surprise who number 1 is. He only played 15 games, but he's 40 points above number 2.
Monster.
And then Derrick Henry, who played all 16, is sitting at 3rd. But Alvin Kamara, number 1. Dalvin Cook, number 2. Yeah. Kamara's got the COVID right now. So if you're doing the playoff matchup, he should be going.
He'll play.
I think he'll play. Are they? They're at home, correct? Yeah, they're the 2 seed, right? Yeah, they're at home. So they do have that advantage if they're playing on Sunday, which I think they are. Mm-hmm. They have that extra day to get him another test, and if he
was doing virtual workouts, he was wearing a headset, and Sean Payton was wearing a headset, and they were doing like virtual workouts where he was like doing his thing wherever he was, and they were Must be nice to have lots of money.
We have 17.
How surprised? Hold on. How surprised are we at number 4? I don't know if you guys have the list up. You probably do.
Yeah, David Montgomery.
Is that the most surprising person on the list? David Montgomery, number 4 running back on the season in PPR.
No, it's not the most surprising, but David Montgomery being number 4 is shocking.
I think
I don't know who you would say was more surprising. Like
James
knowing
Robinson?
how this, no,
Yeah, I
knowing
would
how
say-
the season went. Like if we didn't look at these beforehand, and I just told you, if we didn't prep for this, and one of us just pulled it up and said, "Guess who number 4 is?" I guarantee more of you would have said James Robinson than David Montgomery.
Yeah, no, probably.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying? So
I
that's
actually
what's
probably
making
would have said Aaron Jones ahead of David Montgomery, just because I know he missed some
Exactly.
time, but he still had some big games. So
but not a single one of us is saying, "Oh yeah, David Montgomery, yeah, he's up there." No, we're
Sure.
not. Let's. What are we? Is this for real with David Montgomery?
I mean, 4 yards a clip,
talked
or
about
no,
it.
yeah, 4 yards a clip, and he got 68 targets in PPR. Yeah, I think he's
Is he a
for
first
real.
round pick next year?
I think you'll see him supplant the like Miles Sanders, Austin Eckler towards the end of the
TJ.
first round, top of the
Trying to
second round.
snatch you a running back. Okay.
Mhm. I
Yeah,
think you'll see.
I think he's going to be a guy who will be a first rounder, probably a late first rounder, but he's going to be a good value. And this is what happens whenever Matt Nagy quit deciding to call plays. I'm more
Thank you.
interested in who do you think will be in this top 12 next year and who do you think will be out of it? We know Mike Davis will be out of it, but like there's a guy who I'm seeing right
Yeah.
now who I think you should sell high on. I'm looking right at James Robinson. And the reason that I'm saying that is because Jacksonville actually ran the football. They had the least amount of running plays out of any team in the league. So he was incredibly efficient with the carries that he got. I'm not saying he's not a talented running back. I think he is. But do you think that with Trevor Lawrence coming in that they're going to throw the ball less?
Do you think they drafted
I
a
don't.
running back?
That's entirely possible as well. They don't need
I
wide
think they,
receiver help. They have
I think they drafted another third round, fourth round. They're going to take a running back, and that's
think so?
more. Yes,
I don't think they waste the draft capital on that. I think they try. I think they take Lawrence or whichever quarterback they feel is the best guy for their fit. They have a rookie running back that performed well. I think they're going to try and bolster that offensive line and the defense.
Oh,
try-
wait. You guys brought up the quarterback, and you said whichever quarterback they want. And I kind of want to talk about this real quick.
Sure.
So, if you guys watched the game, Clemson, Ohio State,
I did.
Justin Fields looked really good. I'm not going to say
Very
anything. And anybody that's saying, "Oh, they only played 6 games, they shouldn't have been there." Well, Clemson should have beat them then, just like
Agreed.
the Washington game. Don't get mad if you had your chance to win and you didn't win. So I'm not saying Justin Fields, but here's the thing: Justin Fields will probably be the 3rd quarterback drafted, right?
Yeah, Zach.
Zach Wilson from BYU.
Yeah, he's looking like the second guy.
Those
off.
two have declared. I know that Lawrence and Wilson have declared for the draft. Justin Fields technically hasn't, because any player can come back this year, even seniors. I'm not saying he will, but he's going to come out. But we can't assume right now that these guys are declaring for the draft until they actually do, because anything could happen. If he gets drafted later, if he goes later, because he'll be probably the 3rd quarterback off the board, he goes to a better team, a la Justin Herbert, who was the 3rd quarterback taken, who went to a better team.
New England?
Oh,
Not even New England. What if he goes? I mean, I'm trying to think off the top of my head who needs a quarterback, but what if he goes to
Detroit.
Atlanta? They move on from Matt Ryan.
yeah,
Detroit, yeah.
he could go
Detroit.
there. Detroit would be a landing spot. McShay's got him going 15th to the Patriots, but
Hey!
Atlanta,
And
he's
if he
got
goes there, I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's got Zach Wilson going to BYU, but I was talking about this with some people at work, and honestly, with as efficient as he was in that playoff game, if he looks that good in the national title game, I think I would rather have his skill set for where the league is going versus where
Trevor
what
Lawrence
Trevor-
is just fine. Trevor Lawrence was breaking
I'm
off
not
runs
saying
just fine.
I'm not
Trevor
saying
Lawrence
he's
is athletic.
he is athletic, but is he as athletic? Can he run the RPO
And-
like Justin Fields could?
And
Or
here's another thing too. Like we're all like, "Oh, Justin Herbert's the best quarterback in this draft class." RG3 was the best quarterback in his draft class his first year, but we'll also right now say Andrew Luck was the better one for his career, right?
yeah,
Those
nothing says
1 year wonders. Those 1 year wonders are not. Baker Mayfield was the best in his rookie class after his rookie year, right?
Kirk Cousins was the best in that RG3 class. Okay, bud. Who's made the most money?
Well, I mean, now.
Uh,
No, that's what I'm saying. Now he is.
Kirk
The Ben
McGurk.
Roethlisberger one, right? Rivers, Eli, and Big Ben, right? Big Ben's when you
Two
want to
Super
look at
Bowls.
fantasy career throughout.
2 Super Bowls.
So we can't go off the first year. Like I love Justin Herbert. I'm a Chargers fan, but 1 year is just 1 year, man. Anything can happen the next year.
Yeah, you remember when Cam Newton set all those records as a rookie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was still good in fantasy for a long time. Like, I mean, if you had him for a while, you were good.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah.
Just saying.
Travis Etienne to Arizona. Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about
But-
that.
I'm not
You don't
looking too
have to
crazy.
worry about
I just
that.
want to bring that up real quick. Okay, what about the rest of this? Let's look down the list. Kenyon Drake is RB16. Are you guys surprised he's even that high?
Yes. Yep. He was the Todd Gurley of last year, this year. He did pretty well, but he didn't feel like he did that well at all.
Are you guys surprised that CEH is the fourth rookie running back on the list?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised.
DeAndre Swift ended up passing him in one less game.
I'm very surprised at that. Antonio Gibson. I'm even more surprised that Indianapolis has 2 in the top 15. I mean, I'm pretty surprised about that.
I mean, are we though? That's what Phillip Rivers does, isn't it?
CEH was supposed to be a locked and loaded sure thing. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but he was still a decent running back. And I think he's going to get better. But it's just one of those things. I mean,
Of the rookie running backs, who are you drafting first next year?
Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor. You're taking him over Gibson. You're taking him over.
Yeah.
You're not worried that he's going to be like Miles Sanders
Nope.
and have the little regression?
No, that line is so damn good.
They are very good. I like Gibson and Dobbins. Those would be my guys.
I like Dobbins a lot because I know the quarterback's going to pull some defenders away from him.
Yeah. But Gibson, he seems like the best of both worlds. Like DeAndre Swift, if
Hannah Montana.
sure,
Best of both worlds. Yeah.
if Matt Stafford's not there next year, like who's playing quarterback for them? That scares me. So DeAndre Swift might suffer for that. But like Antonio Gibson, he's kind of in the same boat. But he got
Antonio
a lot of targets.
Gibson, I think, fine, dude. Who's taking his job? McKissick?
Smooches?
Yeah.
He got
They're probably
110
drafting
targets.
quarterback. They're
somehow.
probably drafting the quarterback. I don't think Alex Smith comes back again. I think he likes this ride he's living on. He might hang it up.
He probably
'Cause
should.
He didn't expect to play this year.
He
I was
should
watching that
hang it
game.
up.
Yeah, God forbid he got hurt.
He
again.
can't lift his heel up. They have to tape it so his heel stays up. He doesn't have the strength to keep his foot.
Oh Lord, yeah, hang
I'm-
it up, dude.
yeah.
Bad
I'm-
habits.
I'm scared for him. I want him to retire.
Are you guys surprised of how weak the running backs was? After you get out of those top 3, it is such a drop off, though.
It's huge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean we're barely into RB2 range, and we're under 200 points on the season.
I figured Zeke would be the focal point of that offense after Dak went down, and that he fell apart. I thought Josh Jacobs saw more targets this year, but he didn't see as many rushing attempts, and he wasn't as efficient as he was last year. Like I thought those guys would all score well over 300 points this year, and none of them got anywhere close. So, if Nick Chubb hadn't missed time, he probably would have cracked 300 points because he was really good in the games that he did play in.
So, like I said, you get outside right as you get up in the RB2 range, you're under 200 points in the season. For wide receivers in PPR, T. Higgins is at 28 with 194, and he's the first wide receiver outside of 200 points.
Oh, love me some T. Higgins.
But I'm just saying, wide receiver class has gotten so much deeper these last few years. I know it's a pass happy league, and whatever.
Passing is easier than ever. I mean, it's getting tough for these guys to play defense at this point.
And we got to think Michael Thomas had his worst season of his career.
Tyler Lockett was number 8.
Yeah, dude. And DK Metcalf was 7. That first half of the season.
Tyler's living off that 200 or that 200 and something yard, however many touchdown, 50-point performance for the year.
We can say the same thing about Kamara, though, right? That's what got
Glad I
Kamara
didn't-
number 1.
I'm just glad I didn't bet on that. So CD Lamb is the second best rookie in all of this. Justin Jefferson was number 1, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Where did CD finish?
CD finished at 22. Claypool was 23. I think that the arrow is pointing up for both of those gentlemen because Juju will not be a Steeler next year, and Big Ben might not even be a Steeler next year. But I think Deontay Johnson and Chase.
Do you worry about that?
What?
Do you worry about Big Ben going away?
Yeah, I do. Him, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, those guys I don't expect to be quarterbacks for their teams. Phillip Rivers certainly and Drew Brees certainly will not be quarterbacks. Big Ben said he wants to come back, but it's going to change the landscape. They're going to draft a running back. Pittsburgh will be one of the teams that drafts a running back within the first 2 rounds. I guarantee it because James Conner did not give them enough this year. Benny Snell didn't. I mean, those guys have just been misses.
How surprised you that Carolina has 3 wide receivers in the top 25?
That blows my mind.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, I think the big surprise there is obviously Robbie Anderson. Nobody thought they would really take advantage of him, but obviously Matt Rule knows how to use him with the personnel that he has. So,
and Curtis Samuel's gone next year. So Curtis Samuel is an unrestricted free agent. I don't see them signing him back. Do you guys think he comes back? I don't see them paying another wide receiver when they have DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson under contract, unless he wants to take a huge pay cut, which I don't see that happening. And Mike Davis is the free agent as well. So I don't even know if Mike Davis is back there in Carolina. Carolina's – well, I mean,
I
bring it up.
Like McCaffrey's injury history, they should probably re-sign Mike Davis, even if it's a little expensive. What do you mean? No, come on. I know you have him on a team and you want Christian McCaffrey healthy, but
Mike Davis was a $9 million cap hit this year.
Well,
that's gross.
You got to have somebody else to run the ball if he goes down, and he seems to do it for a fair amount of time. So,
all right, do you guys think Antonio Brown comes back to the Tampa Bay next year with Chris Godwin being an unrestricted free agent?
Godwin's going to get big money somewhere else.
Brown comes back. The reason I bring up the Brown thing is that Brady threw him 4 shovel passes to get him that bonus?
Yeah. They're bros, man. Like, he's coming back. Yeah, he'll be back because Godwin's going to get paid somewhere else.
Brown's back. And then are you taking Antonio Brown? If you go running back heavy early in the draft, would you take Antonio Brown as your first wide receiver if Godwin's gone?
Nope.
What round are we talking? Like 4th, 5th?
5th, 6th?
5th, 6th? In the 6th, I wouldn't mind taking him. I don't know about the 5th. I'd probably look for somebody else there. But man, if he gets the volume, he's still quick. He can still move in redraft, especially. But in Dynasty, if you can take a shot on him and get him in waivers, what's going to hurt to stash him on the bench?
On a points per game basis, he was the 17th best wide receiver, right behind Juju Smith-Schuster.
With no preseason, with no working out, with jumping in the middle of a season, and he was the target leader, I believe, since he's been on the Buccaneers.
I can't speak to that, but it's entirely.
He's up there. I know he's up there with it. Yeah,
he got 62 targets, and how many games did he play? Not that many.
I think it's 7.
He played half the season.
Okay, so
8 games. Yeah, so
8 games. He got 60. That's a 120 target pace. He gets that kind of volume, he's going to catch most of them. So in PPR. Yeah, he's worth stashing for sure in Dynasty. And then 6th, 7th round, if you can get him in the 6th, that's probably a good spot for him.
If we double his points, because that's what we say, right? We just double his points. He would have finished wide receiver 21, right behind Terry McLaurin, which isn't great, but
wide receiver 2 in the 6th round. That's not terrible though. That's pretty decent value.
Just saying, and we know him and Tom like each other.
They make out all the time.
Yeah, they do. But
especially if you can get him in the 6th and then have him, if he pops off the first 8 games and you move him, because Brady's arm kind of falls off at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But
you missed this. You didn't. I talked about this when you took your head when you jumped out. But this is the most touchdown passes he's thrown in the last 5 games of the season in his career.
It's that warm weather.
It is.
Where's
Snowbird, man? He's a snowbird now.
Where does he have to go? Philly? No.
Washington.
So that'll be okay. If he's got to go to Green Bay, though, he's screwed.
Maybe. I don't know, man. They got Rojo, who was we didn't talk about this, but he was an RB1.
He was, but I don't think that Green Bay defense is pretty good, and it's going to be cold.
It is. All right, so we've talked about these wide receivers. Brandon Cooks, he's under contract there in Houston, and if Watson comes back, I like Brandon Cooks next year as the guy. I mean, he played 15 games this season, so, I mean, the injury stuff is what it is.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown or DK Metcalf next year?
Brown.
Metcalf.
On
Metcalf
a point per game basis, A.J. Brown was better.
Don't care.
Mm-hmm.
He was better in college. He's better in the NFL. He was probably better in high school. Don't you dare.
DK Metcalf got 23 more targets.
Yeah, because A.J. Brown only played 14 games.
Okay. Being healthy is a skill in fantasy football.
He only played 14 games and he finishes a wide receiver 1.
Okay.
Get out of here.
What's the drop off here? 247, so 30 points.
Next
Probably
year,
right
next
about
year,
that. 30
next
points.
year, and next year alone, A.J. Brown or Keenan Allen, Josh?
A.J. Brown. I love his talent, dude. I love it.
The only reason I want to say Keenan Allen is I heard this somewhere else. And on Fantasy Pros, they have Keenan Allen right outside the wide receiver 1 numbers. But he has been a wide receiver 1 for the past, I think it's 4 seasons. And there's only been a handful of wide receivers to ever do this.
Well, Keenan Allen finished at 13 this year. So
Yeah, I know. It depends on what scoring you use. Fantasy Pros, he's not. But if you fudge some numbers around, you can get him there. It ain't like he's far off. It ain't a big
No, he's great. But I mean, A.J. Brown, the upside is huge.
And something people don't want to talk about with Keenan Allen is that Mike Williams will be gone because he is a free agent.
We talk about, though, with wide receivers, the third year being their year, right? And this will be A.J. Brown's third year. And I don't think that you're going to go wrong with A.J. Brown or Keenan Allen. I think that they're both phenomenal players.
I think in a redraft, though, or in a startup, you could probably get Keenan Allen after DK and A.J. Brown.
Yeah. I agree with that. And Keenan Allen, he's still probably got about 4 great years left.
Yeah, and he's got a young quarterback, which always helps. He's not that old.
No, I agree.
Do you think A.J. Brown gets 11 touchdowns next year again?
If Derrick Henry's running the ball like he is and they can run that play action, there's a good possibility.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was just looking at his and DK's numbers. So DK had 7 his rookie year, and he had 10 this year. Brown had 8 his rookie year, 11 this year. So in terms of that, but the target numbers are just not close.
But Derrick Henry was such a beast. He had 500 yards more than the second best rusher in the entire NFL. I mean, that and for the fact that you still had A.J. Brown as a wide receiver 1 in that, and you still had Ryan Tannehill as a QB 1, the offense as a whole was humming. And
can we talk about Week 17 with Derrick Henry real quick about how he needed 220 some yards to get 2,000, and he got it in a Week 17 game when the defense knows like this dude's going for this. Like,
and what's crazy is he would have had it in the third quarter if not for that lucky spinning swipe to knock the ball out of his hands, because there was nobody ahead of him but a safety, and he would have ran him over or stiff-armed him into Narnia like he has everybody else this past season. So yeah, he would have got it in the third quarter, and they probably could have sat him the rest of the game. But
you know what? That's not even the most amazing stat for Derrick Henry. His senior year in high school, the 4,000 yards. His senior year.
I didn't know that.
He's a man amongst boys. He is an incredible and as much as it pains me to say it because he's from Alabama, the guy is incredible. I mean, he is just a great running back. I love watching Derrick Henry play because now, especially when everything's getting cold. Did you guys play football in high school or anything?
Yes.
You guys play football? Everything hurts more. Catching the ball, tackling, everything, getting hit, it all hurts more. So these guys have to make business decisions. That's what we talk about, business decisions.
Yeah.
When you're a corner who's 5'11", you weigh maybe 200 pounds, and you got to tackle Derrick Henry, not Not worth it. Not worth it.
And you're
Like,
playing for Jacksonville, who's the front office is giving up on you because they're putting Mike Glennon in there, and you got to make the decision.
it's a business
Do I
decision.
try to
No.
tackle him and I make ESPN? I'm the guy that got stiff armed.
No, bro. You don't want to be that guy.
Because, hold on. Here's what we don't remember. We forget about is the Martian Lynch, the dude he ran over. Right? You remember when he ran that dude over?
The Beastquake?
Yeah,
That's what you're talking
Beastquake. Guy he ran over.
I don't
The year
remember.
prior, the dude was a Super Bowl hero. The dude was a Super Bowl hero.
No, I don't remember.
He was a playoff
Devin-
hero. We don't remember
Devin McCourty?
that DB. We don't remember that DB for that. It was a Saints DB. He had a great, I think he was a Super Bowl hero when they beat the Colts. We don't remember that. Nope. We remember him getting beastquaked.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But let's move on to our favorite position, tight end, real quick. And all I want to say is Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, and then there's the rest because Travis Kelce had 312 points in PPR. Darren Waller had 278, and then Robert Tonyan finished at 3 with 176, and Logan Thomas tied him. So none of us draft tight ends early usually. Is Logan Thomas going to be the guy we're going for? Because people are going to forget all about Logan Thomas next year.
Yeah, he's a great guy to go after.
Him.
Because he'll be and Hunter Henry is a free agent. I don't know if he's back with the Chargers.
I feel like they re-signed him.
They didn't.
The guy
Not yet.
the guy I'm hoping is gonna have a real breakout next year will be Noah Fant.
Yes.
He did
Third-year
finish.
breakout.
Yeah. But geez, like the drop off from Kelce to Waller is big. And then the drop off from Waller to everybody else is monstrous. It's
Kelsey
like
would have
100
been
points.
Kelsey would have been the number 4 wide receiver on the year, bro. Like that's how great he is.
Yeah, and I wish Jimmy Graham had won that contract dispute to get paid as a wide receiver, so Travis Kelce could get paid as a wide receiver now because those are 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns, 145 targets. He had over 100 receptions. Yes, pay that man like a wide receiver. Like there's no reason he shouldn't be allowed to get paid more because he's a tight end. It's crap.
All right. Yeah. But the thing is like once you get past Darren Waller, you get to that 170. They're all kind of bunched up there.
Sure.
I heard
they're all
something funny
20-something
about
points in
Robert
return.
Tonyan, that Aaron Rodgers loves and hates Robert Tonyan because he's the wide receiver too. So like, oh, we don't need to get you a wide receiver too. You got Robert Tonyan.
Yeah.
You got your number 2 guy. We
Did you
don't
see
need
the
to go.
montage of MVS dropping all the passes this season?
Poor guy.
It's so brutal, man.
He done.
We were
Who's
talking about
worse,
that.
him or Hollywood Brown dropping passes though, or Deontay Johnson?
I'll take Deontay Johnson for 400.
Deontay dropped
CD
some wide open balls. Like that was some of those were like really gut wrenching drops.
Were they
I-
Des Bryant-esque?
Ooh.
I think CD Lamb actually led the league in drops, though.
Did he? Thought Deontay
Uh,
Johnson had that thing
Yeah,
on a lot.
it was Deontay.
I don't
Johnson.
pay attention to my
Yeah,
own team.
It was
so.
Deontay Johnson.
It was Deontay Johnson, Jerry Jeudy, and then CD Lamb. CD Lamb and Jerry Jeudy were tied for second.
But they had bad quarterback play. Let's be honest. Their quarterbacks weren't putting those on targets.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a fun little game here. I want to move over to this. I know Josh, you're kind of excited. It's on a
love
website called keeptradecut.com. The
Let's go.
reason I love this website, and I kind of want to talk this website up, I talked to the guys about it, is that they have dynasty rankings on here that they're crowdsourced. You go on their site, you do some keep trade cuts, and based on how you keep, trade, or cut people, builds the rankings for their site. So it isn't just some random expert out there giving you their opinions. It's what the masses believe. Go out there, check out Keep Trade Cut. They got a nice little trade calculator too. It's based on half point PPR, but
Half points.
the first one I got up here. The first way, this is Super Flex League, obviously half point, half PPR here. John Brown, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Russell Gage, and remember these are dynasty. It's not a great one, but these might be guys that you have on your team that you got to make a decision on.
What were the players? Write this. Down.
John Brown,
Russell Gage. Yeah.
John Brown,
Russell Gage, Donovan Peoples-Jones.
So I will keep Russell Gage.
Okay.
I'll trade John Brown, and I'll cut Peoples-Jones.
Is that because Odell's coming back and you think his role is going to kind of go away?
You know it.
What about you, Eric?
I agree with Josh. Russell Gage was the 37th wide receiver this year. I don't know
I
how
see
many.
Julio kind of going away and him maybe getting this
And
number
that's
2 role
exactly.
there.
And then you got Ridley there. He's still the number 2 guy. They throw a ton. They can't run the ball. Gurley's knee did not hold up this year. So I see Gage getting more volume in the future, regardless of whoever's playing quarterback for them. If it's a rookie, they're going to have to sling it a lot. So, Brown probably sees if he's healthy, hopefully next year. He was dinged up this year, didn't play a lot. With Josh Allen, that's a great situation. And now Diggs taking all that coverage. Woo. So, and then Peoples-Jones is just a bit flex streaming option every once in a while.
So since Josh kind of took that one, Eric, the next one's a little bit tougher here because still super flex, same thing. We got Zach Moss, Buffalo running back, right? Curtis Samuel, wide receiver for Carolina. We talked about he's going to be a free agent. And then we have Carson Wentz, quarterback. How do you rank these? This is a tough one because these are 3 different positions. And Carson Wentz, I get it's low right now, but in a super flex league, you can't cut Wentz, can you? Because there's rumors now that he might not get traded. He might stay there. He might still be the starting guy.
Gross.
This is a good one.
So it's super flex. Wentz, Samuel, and Zach Moss. Woof.
Yeah, that's a good one though. These are like guys that, but this is why I love this site because dudes that are really close in value.
I would keep Moss. I would try to trade Wentz. If he does get moved, hopefully he ends up in a good landing spot, or they bolster that offensive line and he's the starter and he goes back to that MVP form. And then I'd cut Samuel. I
worry about where Curtis Samuel's going to land. Like what's he going to do?
So,
if he lands in Houston, they love their, wide receiver 2s down there in Houston.
Yeah.
At least Bob did. I don't know what the new regime likes, but good old Bob.
They hire there. That's going to be. They do.
What do you think about that,
Josh? We'll see.
I 100% agree with Eric. I think he nailed it.
I keep the running back because I don't know what's going on with Devin Singletary either. He might move, and then Zach Moss might get the full role there. I get Josh Allen, but they're going to want Josh Allen to run less.
Zach Moss right now is a perfect buy low candidate in Dynasty. I love him.
All right, let's we'll turn Superflex off here. We'll do Josh. Oh, you're gonna love this one, dude. 2 tight ends and a running back. Well, sort of a running back. David Njoku, Lynn Bowden, and Dawson Knox.
God,
that's a poo right there.
That's terrible.
I kind of want to do this one. I've been putting you guys on the spot. I would keep Dawson Knox because I think Dawson Knox is going to be the tight end there with, Josh Allen. Lynn Bowden has kind of showed us something. They started trying to find ways getting him as being a slot wide receiver. Mm-hmm. And then I'm cutting Njoku, man. He's just dropping the ball too much. Like he's the lowest on that list by far.
David Noggin's all messed up because Baker got killed.
And just so you know, the masses had that as keep Njoku, trade Bowden, cut Knox. So I was very different than what the masses had, but yeah,
that's fair. Well, I'm just out of curiosity. What did can you go back to the one I did?
No, I can't. I messed up. I should pull this up as well.
For the record, I do not think Wentz is good, and I think you should move him when you can for whatever you can get.
All right. All right, Josh, here we go. We'll do one more each. This is non-super flex, so this is just regular 1 QB league.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Steven Sims, Washington wide receiver. Andy Isabella, Arizona wide receiver. Or Jalen Guyton, Chargers wide receiver. Keep, trade, cut.
I'm cutting Guyton. I'm going to keep Isabella because Fitz is retiring, and I think that's the other one. And I'll trade the other gentleman.
I kind of like Guyton next year, but, it's kind of hard. I think Christian Kirk's going to take Andy Isabella's job over Isabella. I think he'll still get third there, so I would flip-flop. I would probably move Sims up to the keep, move Guyton to trade, and Isabella to cut. Personally, but
interesting.
Yeah, and Josh, most Dynasty people said they keep Guyton, trade in Isabella, and cut Sims. So I think a lot of people think that
QB situation in
in
Washington.
Washington, and I believe they think Washington might take a wide receiver as well, which could push Sims down. All right, here you go. Ooh, Eric, this is a good one. So 1 QB. This is you're not getting a poo-poo platter. You're getting a nice one. You're getting 2 RB.
PPR?
Half PPR.
Okay, 1 QB, half PPR. Good. All right.
Zeke, Godwin, Sanders.
Oh, and half? Oh boy.
Zeke, Godwin, Sanders. These are primo players.
Zeke, Godwin, Sanders. Keep, trade, cut.
Oh, I already know what I would do.
Zeke was still a wide running back 1, even in half point PPR.
Just so you know, you are ranking these players. So the keep is 1, the trade is 2, and the cut is 3. So you are ranking them.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Zeke was an RB1, but Godwin, I think, outscored him in points per game.
Probably, but there's no way Tampa has the cap space to keep Godwin, and I don't know where he ends up.
But if he ends up out in Houston with good old Deshaun Watson, they do some cat magic.
Based on right now, I would keep Zeke. Trade Godwin. And
Sanders, you're cutting?
What's he gonna be? What's he gonna be if Wentz is still there? Like if it's Hurts for sure, and they get some kind of offensive line, great. But
I think Godwin's the keep in my mind.
Is he?
Zeke's the trade and Sanders is the cut.
Man,
I still will keep Zeke over Sanders just because, like you said, Zeke still finishes an RB1. He's still got 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
What do you think, Josh?
Sanders was 21, Josh.
Yeah, so Zeke is the guy that I want to trade.
Okay.
Shocking.
But this is you just literally trying to trade him, not saying he's the second best player on this list.
No, well, if we're talking about dynasty longevity,
Yeah.
I want to keep Godwin, I want to trade Zeke, and I want to cut Sanders.
Okay.
The reason that I want to do that is
you're similar to mine.
Name
let's
value.
See what the people say. So here's what most dynasty players they say: keep Sanders, trade Godwin, cut Zeke, and that's probably just a lot of people that are hurt because of Zeke's.
Yeah, that's some recency bias right there.
It is.
Yeah,
and if we're looking at dynasty, it's not. So,
yeah.
Josh, man, that one's too easy. We're not doing that one for you. Let me pull you a new one up. I don't like this one. You're getting. Oh, here we go. Here's a good one.
Let's go.
DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, snap.
Who was the second one?
Well, Jonathan Taylor.
Swift, Taylor,
Dobbins.
Swift. Taylor, Swift, Dobbins.
Yeah, it was the top running backs off the board, not named CEH last year.
No, that's how I want to do it. I want to keep Taylor, trade Swift, cut Dobbins.
Keep Taylor, trade Swift, cut Dobbins.
Yep.
So I think I'd flip my Swift and Dobbins, but that's just
that
personally
tough. That is tough, dude. Like
it is.
I didn't want to think about it. I just wanted to get it out initial because I think Swift and Taylor are both great. Dobbins is third to me no matter what, but Swift and Taylor that is tough because I love both of them.
So why is Dobbins third for you? He's on the run heaviest team.
He is, but I saw how great
Mark Ingram wasn't inactive most of these games at the end there. I know they use Gus Edwards a lot, but I'm not scared of Gus Edwards taking his job.
I saw how great Jonathan Taylor was in the pros, and I loved it. And then I watched a lot of DeAndre Swift at Georgia as opposed to J.K. Dobbins at Ohio State. And I think it's easier to be good when the talent around you is good. DeAndre Swift didn't have the same supporting cast. And I saw what he was able to do. He was able to supplant Kerryon Johnson, and he still was able to override dummy Matt Patricia and Adrian Peterson. DeAndre Swift, with the proper opportunities, he's going to be a phenomenal running back.
And honestly, like you're not going wrong with any three of these guys keeping.
No,
it was a tough one.
I
just so
disagree.
you know, your what you picked, Josh, is what most people have picked. But
Of course.
so what were you going
keep-
to do?
I would keep Dobbins. I would trade Taylor because I think you could get a boatload for him right now.
If we're not ranking these 1, 2, 3, if we're going off the actual thing, like yes, trade Taylor. Like you could probably go get a lot for him.
And then I would cut Swift just because of the uncertainty of their situation. They probably will get an offensive-minded coach, and I hope they do. But we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Let's
A load of cash and
Who's up? Who's up? Me? Should I? You guys want me to do this one here? It's Hunter Henry, Kenyon Drake, Corey Davis.
Yeah, you can do that.
Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You don't want all three of these guys are free agents this year. We don't know where they're going to end up.
100.
So when you look at this, you don't know any of their situation next year. So if you own these players, you're in a kind of predicament here because Hunter Henry looked good with Justin Herbert, but he's had injury concerns. They're not going to pay a big money.
Look at what Austin
Corey
Hooper
Davis-
did and Hayden Hurst. Those guys moved in. It was a dumpster fire.
Corey Davis had a good season overall, but he towards the end kind of fell off a little bit.
His first good season ever.
Yeah,
Congratulations,
and they
Corey.
already, so he's going to go somewhere. And Adam Gase isn't there just to pay people a lot of money to do nothing. This to me, because of what if it's just super flex dynasty year, I'm probably going to keep Corey Davis because he's a wide receiver. He's young. Depending on where he lands, then trading probably trade Henry and then cut Drake. Running backs are a dime a dozen now. It seems like I was different because most people put Drake as a trade and cut Henry.
I don't
We
think
just
you can
talked
get
about-
anything for Drake right now, though.
No,
That's-
it was just ranking them 1, 2, 3, ranking them 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. But I'm thinking, who are you actually going to move him for? Like, it seems like you want these guys on their first contracts, or that maybe are early in their second contract, like a
The running
Chubb.
backs, yes, running backs. Like
Anybody else, you want a wide receiver outside of that.
2 to 3 years, and then running backs are done. Like,
Yeah.
Is this Jonathan Taylor's one of his 3 good years for a majority of the running backs?
It will depend on
There-
how well they
there
can
are
keep that
outliers.
offensive line
There
together.
are outliers. I know Zeke's had more.
Yeah.
But Derrick Henry, this is his third good year?
Second straight, really good year.
Well, he didn't get a lot of play earlier in his career.
He didn't. So his
DeMarco Murray.
he still had 1,000 yards in 2018, but he didn't get near the attempts that he did these last 2 years.
But yeah, that was a fun little exercise. I liked it. We'll probably try to implement this throughout the offseason. We didn't get any draft picks in there. They do sprinkle in draft picks too, like late seconds, early first, and stuff like that. So
That's so hard to project right now, though. There's no reason
It is,
to do
because
that.
we don't know
but
yet. But hey, I've already got people.
you did tag us in a couple. That one about the 111 or Laviscus Chenault, and
Yeah.
I think it was like 2 other players.
Dude, I'm in a dynasty leagues right now. I've already made 1 dynasty trade, boys.
I know you got Allen Robinson. You got a haul for Allen Robinson. Wait, yeah,
For
you traded
James
Robinson, right?
Robinson. Got off that James Robinson bus, man. If you're a
Yeah.
James Robinson owner,
Yeah.
you can get the world for him. As soon as they draft a running back, his value is going to.
Yeah,
And
2
everything.
picks.
Well,
and
he has
Allen
such a good year.
Robinson.
Alex
Fantastic.
Collins had a great year, undrafted free agent. He's undrafted
Yeah.
free agent running backs.
The team owes them nothing.
Exactly.
Philip
True.
Lindsay. How about that?
Yeah. He gone. He's a free agent, isn't he? Yeah, he's walking. Melvin Gordon's stock up. He's under contract. They don't have another
Yeah.
running back. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He was 13th
Because,
in half. Ain't terrible.
They got one more year on the other
Royce?
guy that on
Royce
Royce
Freeman?
Freeman.
Yeah. I'm not worried about that.
All right. That's it, boys.
Send us
Wrap it
home.
up.
I'm not going to. I'll play the music after you send us home. I messed this up last time when you weren't here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast. You can check out Eric on Twitter at GunsOfL19. Brad is going to be at Tack Jones because he's sharp as a tack. And then I'm going to be at FF Josh Hughes on the Twitter sphere. You can check out the show on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Empty Wagon FF. And check out our website at fsa-fr.com. We love you guys, and we will see you next week. Later.
NFL Playoff Challenge. Password FSA 2020. Get in there.
Woo woo. Woo woo. Yee.
Got to play the music.